guess from your perspective, like those, I guess, learning the lessons of from the past and learning, I guess, the way of peace in a divided society. I guess that has, from my conversations with you, translated, I guess, into a more broad view of being against violence in all forms. And I know there's lots of views, especially within Christianity, on the topic of violence and even pacifism. But would you say then that in that broader context, then that were you always that way inclined, or was it fair to say now that you're anti-violence, or what way would you sort of describe your views on that?
Yeah, I think you're picking up on, some of my posts on social media and that kind of
Yeah, and
thing.
I guess I have
Yeah.
to give you credit because your posts on social media were really how most of this started. Because I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was a forum for people to discuss the views, and even if I disagree with you on things, which I do, and I'm honest in saying that, there's, I guess, having the forum to be able to talk it out and learn from each other's point of views, I thought was necessary and also kind of missing in some ways. So
Yeah.
there's Facebook posts are great at, well, they're great at a number of things. They're great at you putting across a large volume of your information in kind of one go. And then they're also great for starting arguments instead of discussions.
Mhm.
So that's, I guess that's how I originally was maybe intending on some debates, but then I thought maybe a podcast where we can learn from each other's views and just talk about them in a longer format would be really helpful. So
Yeah.
I guess, yes, your Facebook posts, and that was really in relation to the military and the war and how. So
Yeah. Yeah.
do you want to summarize kind of what that was
Yeah, like
about?
I think if I read my posts, whenever I was 19, and I probably would not understand, or I would be confused. I'd be like, huh? You know,
Yeah.
um, so, and I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier about like learning from experiences, maybe more than information. And
Mhm.
I think you're right that sometimes when you post things on, the internet, it not everyone is going to read it in the same way, or not everyone's maybe ready for that
Yeah.
information, or
And don't get me
they're.
wrong, like I wouldn't say that it's like wrong to put posts like that on Facebook, but
Mhm.
I there's also it's a great tool for helping people to learn, but then it also has its drawbacks as well, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think um, it's going to connect with some people more than others, um, yeah, like I suppose one of the posts I was doing recently has been talking about the VE Day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sort of mentioning how so often we can, celebrate military victories in like a kind of nationalistic way, um, and that it's maybe not always as simple as that. And 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 yeah, like I think probably even I've been using music in that way of like
Mm-hmm.
challenging maybe some views that I've grown up with. Um,
I
because
guess
I'm a
this all relates really well to your song. You have a song called Remembrance Sunday, isn't that the name of the song?
yeah, I've got a song about Remembrance Sunday, and I think I've got written a song about the 12th of July as well, called "Don't Drag God Into the Mix."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's another song, the Border Walk song, which sort of talks about like, you know coming together, and surrendering to each other, rather than, kind of like staying behind our walls, in separate communities. So yeah, I've written a number of songs and material over the last few years, and I think it comes up quite spontaneously. Like maybe maybe I'll, like, for example, the song Remembrance Sunday. I remember writing it on Remembrance Sunday because for a few years on Remembrance Sunday, I had this sense of just uneasiness, or
Mm-hmm.
like there's this kind of like
Yeah.
just
Well, I
mulling
know the
through
feeling for
things,
sure. Yeah.
and just trying to like process some thoughts in a poem, is kind of a helpful way for me to like describe the uneasiness that I sometimes have had. And yeah, I don't necessarily expect everybody to get it, you know, to like agree with these perspectives, but I suppose in some ways, whenever some people might be having similar thoughts or similar experiences and can relate to it, and it can maybe help them you know, discern something that's going on in their walk with God and in their journey.
So I guess how would you summarize like your view of Remembrance Sunday that you portrayed in that song? Like what I guess is it that made you uneasy, or what sort of cultivated that feeling of I'm not sure about this? Like what is it you saw?
Yeah, I suppose like yeah, it's a big topic, but I suppose a lot of the kind of things that I've been talking about or singing about comes towards a backdrop of colonialism. And I think, you know, in terms of like my job as a missionary, you know, there it can get a little bit, you know, the lines can be a bit blurry sometimes with, okay, we're supposed to like reach out to people with the gospel of Jesus, you know, and with the love of God. But a lot of times in the past or in some of the countries we were going to, you know, it can, there's like there's a history there, you know, and even in the context of Rostrevor where I was, and like there's a history of you know, British um, people from Britain coming to Ireland and, you know, trying to put something on them, or, you know, whether that's like their religion or, you know, their political system, or their music, or there's like a cultural kind of clash that happens. And I suppose I've had a journey of like kind of wrestling with how do we bring Jesus without bringing our kind of cultural baggage.